Hello everyone, my name is Prashant and the topic for the today's video is Python script to find files which is greater than X days old. Okay, so without wasting any time, let's get started. So before I start coding this in Python, let me tell you that it's completely depend upon your requirement and you don't need to write this script in Python because you can do the same thing in case of a shell also, and you can do it much more easily, and even you have can do it with the help of a shell one liner. So let me show you. For example, in case of a Linux, you all know that we have a command called find. Okay, and find accept argument like this: find etc, then iname and star.conf, which means that find, we are telling find to look for file inside the etc directory with a name whose extension ends with .conf, and I is for case insensitive search. So it will find the file. Let's say if you have a file whose name is abc.conf or capital abc.conf or capital abc.conf. I mean, this is the meaning of the case insensitive search. So let's run this find command, and find will parse through or go through your etc directory and find all the files which ends with .conf. Similarly, find has bulk of other options. So using find, you can find a file. So let me show you. It's sudo find var uh, type file and size 5 MB. So here we are saying find command to search for files inside the directory var whose size is greater than 5 MB. Okay, so these are the list of the file, and if you want to confirm it, you can even use -exec ls-l, and then to end the find command. Okay, or to a much friendly output. Okay, so those are all the files which are greater than 5 MB. As you can see, it's 30, 16 MB, 32 MB, all these files. Okay, similarly, find has the option. So sudo find, and rather than size, it has the option of called m time, modified time, and then we can pass -10. Okay, so it will list out all the files which are modified in the last 10 days. Okay, so these are all the list of files which are modified in 10 days. You can even go finer by telling find to list out all the files which are modified in the last 10 minutes inside the var directory. So these are all the files which are modified within the last 10 minutes inside the var directory. So the point I'm trying to drive here, if there is no requirement to write this code in Python, you can even write a shell one liner and put it as an alias, and using that alias you can run that command on a regular basis. Okay, to find a file which is greater than 10 days old or less than 10 days old or size of this. Okay, so coming back to our main topic is to script to find a file greater than X days old. Okay, so in one of my previous videos regarding Python OS module, I talked about something called os.walk, and using os.walk we can iterate over our directory. So for example, if we have /etc directory, we can iterate over it and build out the complete path. So for example, inside the etc, if there is a host file, we can build this whole path using the os.walk. I will attach the link of this video in the description of this video. So if you haven't watched that video, please watch that video. And once you have that path ready, the next step you need to figure it out how to find a file which is greater than X days. Okay, so rather than me typing the code directly, I will try to tell you, if you will encounter these kind of a problem, how you are going to approach to these problems. Okay, or how you're going to solve this kind of a problem. Okay, So first thing, let me go to my PyCharm and import OS module. Okay, and I will quickly write that code dir name and then file name in os.walk. Okay, and this time I'm giving a path. Let me give the path like etc. We have give any path, open vpn. Okay, find server. Okay, let me see some other path. Let me see cups. Oh, so many of these. One second. Let me see Apache 2. Yeah. Or let me start with the etc itself. Okay, etc, and then for file in file name, right? And let me print that. We can use os.path.join and then dir path comma the file. So in that os.walk module video, I told you that this os.walk is going to give us a tuple which is having the path of this main directory, which is /etc, then any directory inside it and any file inside those directory. So what we are trying to do using this main path and the file name, we are trying to build the complete path. Okay, so let me run this code. So as you can see, this we are printing this whole path. Okay, so we have already seen this, so that's why I quickly go over through it. So now let's save this into some variable. We can say comp underscore path equal to this. Okay, so we have saved this into a variable called comp underscore path. You can use any variable. Now, in order to find a file greater than x days old, okay, and let me define a variable called max age, and max age, let's say 10. So we need to find all the files which is greater than 10 days old. I mean a file which is created more than 10 days. Okay, so for that to find it out, we need to find it out at what time this file has been created and then minus its value from this, right? So for example, this file is created 11 days ago. So that means this 11 is greater than 10. So we can find it out like, okay, so 11 is greater than 10. So we can print out that file, and then it's completely depend upon your requirement. You can remove that file, whatever you want to do with that file. Okay, so how we are going to find it out when this file is being created? Okay, so let me go to the Python console, okay, and import OS. Okay, and in OS there is something called stat, and then we can specify any file name. Let me take this file. And if you look here, you can see these parameters. Just don't worry about these parameters: the access time, the modified time, and the creation time. And we are interested in the creation time, but as you can see, this is in seconds. Okay, so next thing we can do is create a variable called file stat. Okay, and what we can do, we can run on these files, all the files. We can run this comp underscore path. Okay, we can run that os.stat on all those path. And if we need a specific one, so for example, if I can store this in here, and if I need to find it out when this file has been created, I can do with x.st.time. Okay, this is the way I can get out the specific value. So I can give one more variable called file underscore c time. Okay, and in this c time, what I'm doing is I'm finding out the specific value, which is c time. Okay, not c time, but st underscore c time. Okay, so if you want to print that, or let's start with this guy so that you can see what exactly we are getting. So let me start with this file underscore stat. Okay, execute this code. So as you can see, we are getting the same kind of output, right? Don't worry about it, because we might not have access to some of the files. Okay, so this we are getting all these, and out of this we are getting the c time, like when that file has been created. So let me comment out this. So as you can see, we are getting the creation time of all these files in second. Okay, now so we have come up to the point where we got the file creation time of all the files. So let's say I have this file, I find it out, file creation time of this file. Okay, now we have defined a age of 10. Okay, now let's say this file is created, today is 29th, so let's say this file is created on 20th of June 20th. Okay, or let's say June 18th, just any random date, and we have the maximum age 10. So what exactly we need to do, we need to find out the current date, right? And then we need to subtract the current date with this file creation date. So that means we need to find it out some way, the June 29, the today date, and then we need to subtract this June 18 out of it to find out the value of 11 days. Okay, so how we are going to get the current date? In order to get the current date of a file, we have a module called datetime. Okay, so in Python we have a module called datetime, and let's run dir operation on the top of it to see all the attributes and methods supported by this module. So as you can see, this support date, it support date time, it support time, all these methods. So what we are interested in is datetime dot now. Okay, so what it give me, a tuple with today's date. Okay, now we got the today's date, right? If you remember the script we are executing, this guy file c time, we saw that we are getting this time in the form of a seconds. So in order to convert this time to the format like this, what exactly we need to do is to run one more datetime method called datetime, and this is really important, and you will see this been used in so many code. Timestamp, and then this pass this timestamp, an integer, sorry, not string, integer. So you see, this will gives us the time in the same format as datetime, like this. See? Okay, so now what we can do in our code, code, we can use one more variable, and the name of the variable is file creation date is equal to datetime dot from timestamp. Okay, and there I can pass this file underscore ctime. Okay, and before using this datetime module, I need to import it, right? So import datetime. Okay, and like I showed you, I need to find it out the current date. So current date, I can find it out with the help of variable called current underscore. Let me use the variable current date is equal to datetime dot now, like I showed you. Okay, there is no need of print here now. There is no need of print here now. Let me print this file creation date and execute this code. So now as you can see, we are getting the output in this datetime format. Okay. So next step, what we need to do, we need to find out the difference in days. Diff in days. So diff in days is going to be the current date minus this file creation date, right? And then we can print this diff in days. And let me comment out this guy. So as you can see, we are getting the difference between the two. Okay, this guy, 19 days. Now we are only interested in days. We are not interested in this time format. So just to get the days, what you can do is to use days. Okay, now re-execute this code, and now you're only getting the days. Okay, so now our interest is we need to find out only the file which is greater than 10 days old. So what we can do, we can use if diff in days is greater than this max age, then only print out the file for us, right? Print out those file for us, and where we have this in this complete path. And just for our own clarity, we can also calculate the diff. We can also print the different days. So now if you execute the code, you will see all the files which are greater than 10 days old, and you are getting its complete path as well as the difference in terms of days. So let me change this to some other directory. Let's say var log. Okay, and re-execute this code. So here also you will see all the files like 12 days, 19 days, 13 days. Okay. So this is all about how you can write a code, okay, to find out all the files which is greater than X number of days. Once you have this file, this guy, you can do anything on the top of it. So for example, we have an operation called os.remove, right? You can pass this file name and remove this file. Okay, so this is all about how to clean up of how to find out the file which is greater than X days old. Okay, I agree this is not the best way of writing this code. We can improve this code further. For example, I can take this guy, like the current date creation and all these the days part which I am doing with datetime module. I can write a separate function and put my code in that function and only perform this this part of this dir or os module path in a separate function, and all this calculation in a separate function. So I am not showing you now, but I will share the code in the description of this video. Okay. So once again, thanks for watching this video. If you have any question, please write down in the comment section. I will try my best to answer those questions. Thanks once again.